Hello, my name is Rebecca Mallory, and I'm here today to talk with you a little bit about Xopenex versus Albuterol. Is Xopenex a superior drug? Several years ago, while working at Johnson Memorial Hospital, a drug rep came to our department and introduced us to the new best thing ever, Xopenex. It has fewer side effects, he said, and so much better than Albuterol. But is it really? I'm sure everyone here has felt the sting of the cost of healthcare. So it's imperative that we as consumers are aware of the pros and the cons of the medicines we are given and taking, and make sure that these meds do what they claim. By the end of today's presentation, I will prove that there is very little evidence to suggest that Xopenex is superior to Albuterol in any way. Today I will discuss how Albuterol and Xopenex work and the cost of both medicines. I will also review studies that support the findings that Xopenex is not better than Albuterol. So first I'm going to discuss Albuterol. Albuterol is the most common bronchodilator used today. According to Dr. Ahmad Agbru at medicinenet.com, retrieved May 28, 2014, Albuterol was approved by the FDA in 1982 and has become one of the most widely used bronchodilators of the 20th century. According to the Journal of Asthma in this study, efficacy of racemic albuterol versus lead albuterol used as a continuous nebulization for the treatment of acute asthma exacerbations done by Dr. Matthew Wilkinson and others retrieved May 28, 2014. Albuterol consists of equal mixtures of two enantiomers, R-albuterol and S-albuterol. It is believed that the bronchodilator effect that relaxed the smooth muscle and the tachycardia, tremor, and the other side effects were caused by the R isomer and that the S isomer was inactive. Further studies by John Bottrell in the article, The Debate, Albuterol or Lead Albuterol, from healthcare.com, retrieved May 28, revealed that the S isomer could actually cause paradoxal bronchospasm in 8% of those who use the medicine. So scientists strove to isolate the R isomer from the S isomer, and finally in 1999, they succeeded and called it lead albuterol, marketing it as Xopenex. So now that you know a little background information on albuterol, let's turn our attention to lead albuterol, or as it is known, Xopenex. Xopenex is the R isomer of albuterol that was developed to decrease the side effects of albuterol. According to Daniel Moore in the article, Xopenex for Asthma, is Xopenex better than albuterol for asthma and with fewer side effects, from the website Allergies Retrieved, May 28, 2014. The S isomer was thought to worsen contraction of smooth muscle, so since this was taken out of Xopenex, it was considered to be the superior bronchodilator in treating asthma. Xopenex works very much the same as albuterol, stimulating the beta receptors in the body, including those in the muscle around the airway. This stimulation opens up the airways by causing the muscles to relax, allowing more air into the lungs. This was retrieved May 28, 2014 at yournextbreath.com, Synodion. So if all this is true, why isn't it superior to albuterol? Many studies have been done with many results, with most of these studies proving that albuterol does not have more side effects than Xopenex. According to the Journal of Asthma in this study, efficacy of racemic albuterol versus lead albuterol used as a continuous nebulation for the treatment of acute asthma exacerbations done by Dr. Matthew Wilkinson and others, retrieved May 28, 2014. In a double-blind clinical trial in the ED department in Phoenix, Arizona Children's Hospital, their conclusion was that albuterol was actually superior to Xopenex, and that there was no difference between groups for changes in heart rate, respiratory rate, oxygen saturation, or rates of admission. Another randomized double-blind parallel group study showed that the difference in heart rate was minimal. Xopenex at 0.63 milligrams increased heart rate by 2.2 beats, while albuterol at the equivalent dose at 1.25 increased heart rate by 5.7 beats per minute. And the higher dose of 1.25 milligrams of Xopenex increased heart rate by 6.7 beats per minute, with the equivalent dose of albuterol at 2.5 increasing heart rate by 5.7 beats per minute. In the abstract, changes in heart rate associated with nebulized racemic albuterol and lead albuterol in intensive care patients from the American Society of Health System Pharmacists, retrieved May 28, 2014, Soon Lam describes another study that monitored the changes in heart rate associated with albuterol and Xopenex. This study was conducted at Montefiore Medical Center in Bronx, New York. Patients in the medical intensive care unit and surgical intensive care unit were monitored. The patients included were hemodynamically stable and required inhalation therapy every 4 hours. Patients were given 2 consecutive doses of albuterol, 2.5 milligrams, or Xopenex, 1.25 milligrams, 4 hours apart. Heart rates were recorded of 20 intensive care patients, 10 with baseline tachycardia and 10 without. The mean largest increase in heart rate of the patients with baseline tachycardia was 1.4 beats per minute with albuterol and 2 beats per minute with Xopenex. The mean largest increase of the patients without baseline tachycardia was 4.4 beats per minute with albuterol and 3.6 beats per minute with Xopenex. So there's not a whole lot of difference in the changes of heart rate, which was what was marketed as being the best thing about Xopenex. The side effects were decreased, which you can see in these studies is just not true. So we've gone over the medications and we've gone over the studies of albuterol and Xopenex, but what about the cost? The biggest buzz of the 2 medicines isn't really the side effects or if one works more effectively than the other. It's the cost that's creating the stir. According to the University of Michigan Health Systems website, levalbuterol is not necessarily more effective than albuterol, but does cost more. Retrieved May 28, 2004, Carl Nichols reported the cost of albuterol was 26 cents per dose, and Xopenex cost $1.25 per dose. And this was in 2000, so it's when Xopenex had just come out. Currently, at Johnson Memorial Hospital, albuterol costs $1.66 a dose, while the comparable dose of Xopenex is $3.20. A striking difference when savings are imperative in today's healthcare. So today we discussed albuterol and Xopenex, how they work, and the studies that prove the efficacy of Xopenex is not superior to albuterol. We also discussed the cost of both of them. I have proven that there are studies that disprove Xopenex as a superior drug to albuterol, and there's a significant cost difference between the two that must be considered. Do we want to spend more money for a drug that works in the same manner as a drug that costs less and works the same? I wish I could talk to that drug rep today. We took him at his word, and he told us that Xopenex was so much better, and it appeared that he had all the right studies to support. When healthcare costs are rising, it pays for us to dig deeper and make sure the medicines we are giving and taking are the best choices for us as consumers. Thank you.